Here we go. Get your hair ready. All right, here we are. It's Marauder morning here in the beginning of December, in the final month of 2020, which I know everyone's excited for. And we're still going with these Marauder morning episodes. Happy to be here with my two favorite guys, Mark and Ryan, here once again to talk a little bit of sports. Not much going on this week, but we're going to get a little creative with what we're doing. We're talking sports video games today. It's going to be a 45-minute draft, basically. But we've got some NBA news to chug through first. Just coming across the news desk last night, a big blockbuster trade, really the first blockbuster trade we've had this offseason. Russell Westbrook is going to the Washington Wizards for John Wall and a first-round pick. The first-round pick has all sorts of protections on it, so Houston may not see that pick for quite a while. So we'll just call it the Westbrook for Wall trade. I guess I'll just go to you guys first. What are your thoughts on this? How do you feel about the trade? First thoughts, Ryan. What do you think?
Unlike all the reporters I've been seeing, I actually really like the trade.
Okay.
I think Washington gets a point guard that they've desperately been needing. Wall's been out for the last 2 years, so they finally get a point guard who they know is going to come in, and he doesn't need any warm-up. He doesn't have to worry about any injuries. He's ready. He's Russell Westbrook. He's Mr. Triple-Double. He's going to come in there, and he demands the ball, whereas Beal is pretty good at playing off-ball. And I think he does wonders for the team. And then John Wall on the Rockets. I mean, it only works out if him and Boogie Cousins can return to their old self. This trade means nothing to the Rockets if they can't be at the level that they once were. So,
Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm hoping Westbrook doesn't take the ball away from Beal. Beal had a crazy season last year. I don't think he got the credit he deserved. He was putting up numbers, and he could really score the ball. So I'm hoping, well, Westbrook's not going to, but I'm hoping he can share the ball. Whereas Wall, I don't know. I haven't seen this guy play in like 2 years, so it's kind of hard to – I'm excited to have him back. He's a really exciting player.
For sure.
He used to be one of the fastest players in the league. So, yeah, it'd be cool to see him back in the league. So hopefully it works out well.
Yeah, this is a funny one. This one kind of takes a minute to think through from all perspectives. For Washington, I've got no clue what's going on with this one. Like you guys said, Bradley Beal is a superstar type player who I think needs the ball a little more than he's been getting it for the past bunch of years here in Washington. He's had a little bit of free space without John Wall in the lineup the last couple of years, but he's had no help to go along with it. And now their lineup for Washington just confuses the heck out of me. They've got Russell Westbrook, who's like the second highest paid player in basketball, Bradley Beal, who also needs the ball, and Davis Bertans, who they just gave 5 years, $90 million to. So I don't know. They're paying guys like they're a win-now team, but they're clearly not a win-now team because this team was not a Russell Westbrook away from a title. They weren't even a Russell Westbrook away from making the playoffs. I'm not so sure. So we'll see. And then for Houston, it sounds like all the initial reports is that James Harden loves it and wants to stick around and play with John Wall. It looks like they were working together in the offseason, so we'll see. It's just kind of John Wall's such a question mark, like you said, Achilles injury, knee injury. Those are bad for a guy who plays with athleticism so much. Yeah, I don't know. Bradley Beal, I would still love to see get out of there. It sounds like they're not going to let him leave. He's got a player option after this year. What do you guys think about Bradley Beal?
Yeah, he's one of my favorite players in the league. He can really score the ball. Very athletic, sneaky athletic, and man, it's hard because there were plenty of games last season where he was dropping like 50 points and they're still losing the game. Like he has no help. And yeah, Washington's just not that team to give him a chance to make the playoffs and perform in the playoffs. He kind of reminds me of like Devin Booker, where we want to see him in the playoffs and see how he can like perform in the playoffs. And I don't know if he can do that in Washington.
No, yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I don't think Washington's the spot for him. But good on Bradley Beal. He's kind of kept his mouth shut for a lack of a better term. There's lots of opportunities he could have had to speak up and get angry about what's going on in Washington. Ryan, what do you think?
I didn't realize how good of a scorer he's been for the last couple of years. Yeah,
it's amazing.
He's averaged at least 23 points in the last couple of years, and then last season he popped off with 30 points a game. That's
wow.
Yeah.
He went crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, it's another one of those Devin Booker situations where you want them to stay loyal to their team, you want them to stay around for the uprise where they make the playoffs and they're finally a championship contending team. But then it's okay, how long are you going to stick around and watch the dumpster fire happen before you're okay, I need to worry about myself, and I need to win myself a championship. I can't go down as a player, one of the best players to not win a championship. So
yeah, Bradley Beal is just completely forgotten about up there in Washington. So yeah, I would agree. I think he deserves a lot more attention. Whether or not that's going to happen in Washington kind of hinges on what Russell Westbrook and Davis Bertans can do for you. And I just don't think it's that much.
Bertans is a really good fantasy player. I had him last year. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's a great scorer. He's a good scorer. I'm not sure what he does for you on defense or anything like that.
Oh, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. But there you go. Let's move on to two other guys who are don't have to prove themselves by any stretch of the imagination. Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Don't know what the holdup was. I assume Maverick Carter was doing something or another. Or who's his agent? Rich Paul? One of those guys. Yeah. He's got 4 or 5 posse guys. But someone was doing up all the contracts and trying to work the money out. But we all knew Anthony Davis and LeBron were going to stay Lakers for a while. Anthony Davis is sticking around town on a max deal. I believe it's 4 years. And LeBron is their supermax deal for 2 more years, which comes out to about $88 million. This will be a short segment. Good choice or not for the Lakers, Ryan?
I think it's an obvious good choice. You have the best player in the league, and then you have Anthony Davis, probably the second best player in the league.
That's possible, yeah.
And they're combined to run it back and then run it back again.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love it. You can't go wrong. So
Mark.
It was good. Yeah.
Thumbs up.
I mean, yeah, everyone saw it coming. So
yeah,
5 years, 190. That's big. They're gonna be contending for a while.
Yeah. Hey, this is not major breaking news, but it's news. And yeah, the runway's wide open for them to run it all the way back. At least 1 or 2 more times, if not longer, depending on how long LeBron hangs around. So, there we go. We'll just leave it at that. I don't think there's many dissenting opinions we're going to come up with. LeBron, Anthony Davis, Lakers for a while, so watch out Western Conference. Let's get into the bulk of our show here. We're getting having to get a little creative here down the stretch towards the new year. Sports are to a crawl. Tried to come up with some NFL news. Not much going on except the games.
Lack of games.
Yeah. And we're kind of sick of talking about the COVID stuff, to be quite honest. So we're going to talk about video games, because that's much more fun to talk about, and it's something we all enjoy talking about and spending our time on. So today we're doing kind of a pseudo draft. I guess it's a draft. We're just going to go one by one, name off some sports video games that we love and why we love them, have a little discussion, and then when an hour's up, we'll end the show. So that's how the rest of the day is going to go for us. I don't know. We didn't come up with an order. Let's start how we've got it on screen in reverse. Ryan, Mark, then myself. We'll just go like that, and we'll just talk about some good old sports video games. So Ryan, why don't you start us off? Give us our first game that we're going to talk about. What's your favorite of all time?
Obvious hockey connoisseur, lover of the game, anything. My favorite video game has to be NHL. I buy it every year. I've been buying it since NHL 07 when Ovechkin was on the cover.
Right.
It's just been my favorite game for so long. I mean, as a fan, like you want to play the game that like you grew up playing. So next best way to play it is through video games.
Yeah. Let me, you know what? Let's just kind of break away from our draft format a little bit here, and we've got the big EA games, Madden, NHL, FIFA. Am I missing any of them? Fight Night, maybe. That doesn't really count. But let's go with those three big EA games, which are more or less the same bones, different sport. How do you guys distinguish between the three? How do you pick a favorite? What do you think one game series does better than the other? Ryan, you bring up NHL. What does that do better than FIFA or Madden comparatively? Or is it just hockey that you love?
Um, I don't know if I would say that NHL does anything better than Madden or FIFA because I think FIFA does a lot of really good things.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a little bit of a broken opinions of Madden. You either really love it or you really hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But over the last couple of years, like the faces in NHL, like they become like a lot more believable. Like I know at one point they just had like the same generic face for like a lot of the people. And now they've started to like distinguish with that. I think the graphics have gotten pretty good over the year. I don't think they're at the same level as FIFA, but I don't think they're
Right.
as bad as Madden's can be sometimes. And I mean, I think NHL does a pretty good job of listening to its community because a lot of the things that I've been complaining about over the years, I think have gotten fixed in the most recent game. I know poke checking, you couldn't poke check in the game without getting a penalty.
Oh, come on.
And this year they finally fixed it.
There you go.
So there's things like that. And I wanted sort of like a 2K be a pro style
Yeah.
storyline where like there was
Mhm.
more to just like playing the game. There was like getting signed by like a company sort of like that. And they introduced that this year. So I think maybe they do that better than Madden and FIFA. Like they listen to their community, but that's just because I play it so much and I notice
Right.
these changes. So
Yeah.
that's what I was
Are you emailing EA with your complaints?
No,
One of those guys.
I've never done anything like that. But like, I'll just complain. Maybe they can hear me on the mic complaining, and then the next year it's fixed, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they heard. So
Yeah. Yeah, trying to compare these three is kind of an interesting one. Mark, you and I've had kind of this discussion. I am not a big fan of Madden. I play it because I'm a huge football fan. So I really want to have a football game that I love. But you love Madden, and you're not so much a football fan.
Yeah.
I'll open this up to you, Ryan, as well. What do you think? Does loving a sport impact your ability to love a video game of that sport? I know for me, I become a very harsh critic of football video games just because I'm uppity about my football. What do you guys think?
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the big reasons why I'm so critical of 2K. It's because
Yeah.
like I've played like all my life and I've watched it all my life as well. So it's like when I'm playing and then like this player can't throw an outlet pass more than like half the court and it just flies out of bounds. It just
Yeah.
like makes me angry. Whereas like in Madden, like I don't have a lot of experience. Like I'll watch it and like I know enough to like play. But like when something dumb happens, like I won't even notice it or I won't even be mad. So it's definitely, I think that definitely plays a huge part into it. It's like your
Mm-hmm.
like real life experience with the sport.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what's important is we have to realize, at least not where we're at with technology right now, these games are not going to be able to be, realistic. They're not going to be able to fully represent a sport because there's just so much. I mean, we could talk about theory of sports all day long, but there's so much that goes into what a sport is and the little minutia. So I think when you're a fan, you really point those things out in your own head. Ryan, you're kind of the outlier because you're a big hockey fan, as people noticed by the Joe Sakic poster behind you and the hockey stick on your wall. In case it wasn't clear, you're a hockey fan, but you love this NHL series. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, I think I kind of see things in like an opposite way. I think I'm kind of a hometown favorite to the game I love just because like just because I've been playing it for so long and I see these improvements So I just like appreciate what's going on. And then when I go to like a game like FIFA or Madden, I just expect so much more out of them just because I've never played them before.
Right.
I know recently I got I got PGA, and like there's so many things where like I remember playing Tiger Woods '08.
Yeah.
And I remember playing that game and I loved it. Like I thought that was like the peak of like golf gaming. And then I played PGA and I was like, okay, like it's got to be like 1,000 times better than that game. And like it kind of, in some ways, it seems like they literally went copy and paste and then brought it into this game. And there's things that they changed, obviously, but I don't think what they changed is as drastic as what NHL has been changing. So that's my kind of view.
Yeah, it's interesting. I do find, like, to your point with PGA, which is a game I have too, and I did play those old Tiger Woods games. There seems to be a lot of conventions. You know, if you're going to make a basketball game, this is how you make a basketball game. If you're going to make a golf game, these are the mechanics you use. And I do wish EA especially would kind of try to break away from that a little bit more. I think they've got kind of comfortable in that model they live in. And I wish they would just, whatever that means, I don't know. I don't have any specific ideas, but I wish they would kind of break out of the mold a little bit more. One idea we kind of talked about the other day was the subscription model idea. We talked about this off the air. The idea of a game like League of Legends, for example, which doesn't release a new game every year, but instead releases seasons, updating the game, and you can pay for those updates, but you're not buying a whole new $80 game every year. I'm personally a huge fan of this idea because games like Madden and NHL or whatever only really update their graphics engines every 4 or 5 years or whatever anyway. So if you're just asking people to pay for the new rosters, whether that's like $20 or $30 every year, whatever, I'm a huge fan of that idea. What do you guys think? Is that possible, or is what's going on now the best we can get?
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible. I have no idea
Right.
what they do, but that's definitely one of the main reasons why I buy new sports games every year is for the rosters specifically. Like I don't really care about changes in like the game engine or how like
Right.
I don't know all these like technical things. Like I just care about like wanting to play with the new rookies, like wanting to play with Zion or like
exactly, yeah,
new players. So
yeah, no, I play for the exact same reasons. New draft classes and stuff. When you're playing franchise mode in whatever game, you have to use the imaginary draft classes. And if you're playing a game that's a couple years old, you can look at it with hindsight, and it's not so fun. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think as a fan, I would love for a subscription model, like because what you're saying, every year, like you don't like notice the changes. I think I only really notice the changes in NHL like every like 5 years. So yeah, like if we could get like a subscription model, pay 20 or $30 just for a roster update, and then every 5 years pay $80 for a brand new game with all these new changes that I can actually like realize and pinpoint. I think it'd be a lot better. But I think obviously if NHL or any sports game went from releasing an $80 game a year to paying for or charging us for a subscription model, which is $30 a year, they would lose out on money. So I think obviously that's why they do it. But I mean, as a fan, I would rather pay less for these small changes.
Yeah, hey, it's no secret they're doing what's going to make them the most money, and they have every right to do that. But I'm really getting to the point, especially with Madden, which is a game I bought every year since 2012 or whatever. I'm getting to the point where I'm getting sick of paying $80 every year for it. I'm getting to the end of my rope with these EA games. Mark, give us something else to talk about. We're not we've kind of thrown away the draft, but just go next and pick something that we can talk about next.
And the old NBA Street games, those were
NBA Street.
That was my childhood right there. I barely played like the realistic ones. I always was into like the crazy crossovers, this crazy dunks. That was big.
Yeah. Hey, let's this is a great example of something I talked about a minute ago, which is breaking the mold. You can throw NFL Street into this as well.
Yeah.
Where, it's just a different way of doing a sports game, and you still get like, you still had all the big stars in the game in those games, but it's just presented in a different kind of format. And it's a way you can add different things to the sport, and you can say we're not trying to be realistic. This is somewhat basketball or football, but we're throwing in a bunch of different things. I'm a huge fan of these old NBA, NFL street games. I don't know where they went. I would love to have a new version of them. For
Yeah,
2020.
those were made by EA too.
Are those EA games?
Yeah,
Yeah.
EA. I think it was like Big. I think that was like
That's
a
right.
little sub.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a time there where it was wide open for people to make whatever kind of game they wanted. I'll throw NBA Jam into this conversation as well. A game I had on my list, 2-on-2 basketball. It's in that 2D kind of presentation. I love NBA Jam so much. It's a game I still play quite a bit. I don't think you can get those NBA NFL street games anywhere anymore unless you're willing to go on eBay. But I would love to play those games again. Ryan, have you had experience with the street games?
Yeah. So not so much street games. Like I remember playing like NBA Jam and like the Mario Soccer. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Strikers.
Yeah, Strikers.
Yeah,
sick game.
We'll get to the Nintendo stuff in a little bit.
Yeah. But one thing that I was going to mention, because we like the breaking of the mold type of thing, I think one thing that FIFA does really well, Mark, you can chime in if you've ever played it, but FIFA does this Volta Street Football edition, and you kind of break away from like the rules of soccer, and you can basically do whatever you can to score, like an offline. Well, it's online, but it's sort of like a no rules kind of thing. And I was watching like some videos on it the other day, and I was like, wow, like I wish like NHL kind of has something like that, but it's not as intriguing as like FIFA. So I think just as a fan, like I've never played soccer before, and it makes me want to play something like that. So I think like when you have a combination of like, here's the game, here's like the FIFA mold, and then you have like the fun, like whatever you want kind of thing, I think it draws fans.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I feel like they used to do stuff more like this back in the day. I remember Madden 2009 on the Xbox or the Wii had a 5-on-5 mode, which was awesome. And then they took it out of the game. And then this year in Madden they reintroduced, it's called the Yard, which is just a giant steaming pile of crap. It's the worst thing ever. It's awful. Don't play the Yard if you have Madden, and if you don't have Madden, don't get Madden.
I was about to check it out. I've never played it.
No, don't. It's awful. Okay. But just like I really agree with you, Ryan. Like just a little, like more game modes. Just add more stuff, more little things that make the game interesting and worth buying, and like worth trying out.
Yeah, that's what I noticed in FIFA too. There's a lot of like extra game modes. There's like skill games you can do, which are like very different from the actual game, and it's just a lot of fun. And then there's the Volta football, like you talked about, which is similar to like the NFL Street series that they used to create. Yeah, it's like street football where everyone's just doing tricks, and it's just like not actual soccer, but it's just like lots more fun. So yeah, 2K is doing a solid job with that as well, with like Blacktop.
Yeah, I do. I love Blacktop. I wish they had something like that in every game. Historical players and create your own like squads, different sizes of players on the court, whatnot. I think Blacktop's kind of nailed this as far as the modern thing, but I just wish they'd get even a little weirder with it. Like those NBA Street, NFL Street, like those were weird games, and they embraced being weird and like having wacky stuff to do in the games, and it wasn't realistic at all, which was great. It was fine because there was still Madden and NFL 2K and NBA 2K back in those days. But then you had other options. If you didn't want to play the realistic versions, you got a gamified version of the sport, which I don't think there's anything wrong with. Can you guys?
Is there ever an NHL Street?
NHL Street.
Would that ever be a thing? Little shinny.
That's what I'm trying to look up. There was a game and you played in like a really tiny rink and all the players were like bobblehead versions.
Oh, that
And
was
like
a little game mode in the old NHL games, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
I played
yeah.
that.
I remember
yeah,
that. Yeah,
and you used to play and like if you hit somebody, they went like across the
yeah.
ice
Yeah.
and there was like a goal and it could be like worth like three. Yeah, there was so much stuff. I'm trying to remember the name, but yeah, I can't remember how many times that I would come home and play that game for hours when I was a little
Yeah.
kid,
It was
just
called
because it
like
was
a
so
mini
weird.
rink or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I thought that was the best part of those old NHL games. I loved playing as like the bobblehead guys.
The
So
NHL arcade, and
NHL
that's what they
arcade,
called it.
right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Can you guys think of any of the like other types of these games that kind of take a real sport and break it down into something different? I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
There's like that Madden coach game. I've never
Oh,
played it, but
you want to
I
talk
remember
about?
that.
Oh man, what's it called? Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, in like the mid 2000s, Madden thought it would be a really awesome idea to release a game that you can only play as the coach, and you can't play the games.
Oh,
I remember
See,
seeing it in EB Games as an 8-year-old. Like, why the
yeah.
heck would I
Oh
want to be the
man.
coach?
I gotta look it up. It was just awful because you couldn't play the games. All you could, and you can do this in regular Madden, by the way. You can just play as a coach and call plays and stuff. But yeah, what the heck was that? Uh,
NFL head coach.
NFL, yeah, it was called NFL head coach. It sucked. It was so bad. So yeah, there you go. That's a bad example of yeah, but that's not like breaking the mold. That's just making it worse. taking stuff out of the game, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do. But good memory on that one. I'd kind of forgot about or Madden head coach simulator.
There's a lot of like
is
football
skateboarding a
games.
sport?
Yes.
So the only way I could compare like a strict like here are the rules, here's how you play to like a wacky type of game is I think like Tony Hawk. Like although there's
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of like weird things you can do with Tony Hawk, it seems like there's kind of like a okay, this is how you play and like this is
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. But I know with like the skate games like Skate 2 and Skate 3,
Yes.
there's like a Hall of Meat that you can do
Yes.
and like you're literally rewarded for like jumping and like hurting your player.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys,
Yeah.
Skate 3 is very high on my list here. Yeah, let's talk about skateboarding games. Skate 3 is. I have two favorite sports games of all time. I won't spoil the other one just yet. But Skate 3 is the other one. I've spent so many hours playing Skate 3, and it's exactly to what you said, Ryan. Hall of Meat mode is in there, where you get points for hurting yourself. There's lots of little games and stuff, and it just bends reality enough to where it's not real skateboarding, but it looks like skateboarding, and you're doing all the tricks and stuff. The jumping's not so realistic and whatnot, things like that, physics types things. But I love these skate games, Skate 2 and Skate 3 in particular. And man, I can't tell you how excited I was to have Skate 4 announced a couple months ago. That was a good day for me. I was jumping up and down, ready for Skate 4 to come out. Mark, did you play skate games growing up?
I played like Tony Hawk Underground, like
Yes.
1 and 2, like a
Yes.
lot. Like my brother and I used to play that. But
Yes.
I've never played the new skate games,
Right.
like the ones you're talking about. But
Right.
yeah, I played a lot of skateboarding games as a kid, which
Yeah,
is weird.
man.
Like I never got into it
Yeah, there
I think
was.
in real life.
the Tony Hawk games are the first game where I found myself like grabbing a piece of paper, friggin' writing down like all like
tricks.
the little tricks and stuff,
Yeah,
and
man.
like how to
Yeah.
infinite grab and like all
Mm.
that stuff. And I would spend hours on that game. Like I just
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah. Oh, those Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 for the game, not the GameCube, the N64. I played that all the time as a kid. Didn't have a memory card, so I could only play the one level. Losing my progress. So I think I played that one level of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 a whole bunch of times. Did you guys ever play that Tony Hawk game for the Wii that had the board that came with it? Do you guys remember
No.
that?
No, I remember it though.
You
I
remember?
never got it.
I knew one kid who had the board, and it sucked. It was so bad. Yeah,
Yeah, it just looks dumb.
it was awful. You had to like
I
actually
remember
do tricks.
my friend had the Sean White snowboarding game, and it
Yes.
came with the snowboard. Yeah, and
Yes.
like it was super wobbly, and if you had it on like a hardwood floor, like
Hmm.
it, you could probably hear it down the street. Yeah, like I remember that, and the game was just like so broken. Like
Yeah.
you'd move on the snowboard, and then 5 minutes later, you'd see your player move. Yeah, I
No,
remember
it's
stuff like
not.
that.
Yeah, it was not peak technology.
No, no.
Yeah, I'd probably substitute for a controller every day. But um, I thought it was interesting. It got me excited as a 10-year-old or whatever.
Yeah,
So I thought it was cool until you actually went and tried it out. Um, yeah, snowboarding games is another one we could get to. SSX.
SSX.
Yeah, SSX. I was
I
looking
played.
up.
I played a couple times.
Yeah, I was looking up lists of other people's lists of the best sports video games of all time, and I was surprised how many times SSX popped up as a game. I think this just like came pre-installed on everyone's Xbox 360 or like PlayStation 1 or whatever. I think if you just bought one of those consoles back in the mid 2000s, this game just like SSX just showed up and you had it. I think it was that everyone had it. And it was just the classic like race your friends in a snowboarding game. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I have a big soft spot in my heart for games like that, SSX, and I can't think of any of the other ones off the top of my head, but yeah, a lot of good times I can remember racing people in SSX. Can you guys think of any other snowboarding games that are notable? I mean,
the only other ones I can think of is the Sean White game that they
Shaun
tried to
White, yeah.
release, and I never really got into that. And then Mark McMorris a couple years ago tried to release his game,
oh no kidding.
but I don't even think
Yeah.
you guys have heard
Oh,
of it.
that's the Canadian guy, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Huh.
So
Yeah, go check out Mark. What's it called? Mark McMorris.
yeah, Mark McMorris snowboard.
Mark McMorris snowboarding. Go check it out on whatever console it comes out on.
Great game name.
Mark McMorris snowboarding. All right, that was our little quick header on skateboarding and snowboarding games. I'm actually glad we got that in. Glad we shouted out those. Let's go to a different stratosphere of sports games. They kind of live in their own world over there at Nintendo, doing all sorts of crazy stuff with the sports games over the years. I guess if we're still doing draft, it's technically my pick with the third pick. So I'll just go Wii Sports Resort is one I wanted to mention. Bunch of the lists I looked at had Wii Sports Original ranked ahead of Wii Sports Resort. So maybe we'll have this debate. I'm all Wii Sports Resort. You got the plane flying game, super fire. What else you got? Sword fighting, super fire.
Basketball.
Basketball, 3-point contest. Yeah. When I go back home, me and my friends still run Wii Sports Resort 3-point contest. You better believe it. Where do you guys land on the Wii Sports versus Wii Sports Resort hot topic, hot button debate? Mark?
Bro, when I first got my Wii and I didn't have any other games, like, how old was I? 12? 11, 12? 11-year-old me was in my basement sweating, boxing.
Yeah.
I was boxing. I was going hard. It was so much fun. And then my mom wanted to challenge me. I'm like, yo, I'll knock you out right now. And so she'd play. And then I just gave her the work.
Now.
It was so much fun.
So you're a Wii Sports loyalist? Original?
I didn't have Wii Sports Resort. So
Oh,
yes, I'm
really?
gonna stick with the Wii Sports. Yeah.
Okay.
I played it though. I didn't own it though.
All right. Good to note. It's maybe a little biased. Ryan?
I think I'm a Wii Sports Resort kind of guy. I think Wii Sports Resort offers everything that Wii Sports does and more. I think like everything that I actually play on the Wii Sports is actually on Wii Sports Resort, so that's why I would pick that one. But I love bowling, and
Yes.
like over this pandemic, like not being able to bowl during the summer and stuff, like there'd be so many times where I was like, okay, I can't go bowling, so let's pull up Wii Sports and let's run it. And like, oh my gosh, like even as a kid, like Mark was saying, like there would be so many times where I'd be like 10 games deep, I'd be sweating, and like I would be like, okay, like if I go bowling right now and I do the stuff that's in this game, I'm gonna kill it. So yeah, like I just and like Wii Sports Resort, like the basketball is so fun. I don't know how
So
many
great.
times I had like 3-point contests and then
Mm,
like
Yeah.
gone in real life and like maybe I'll win in Wii Sports Resort and then I'll be in last in real life. It just gives you like
You're like shooting like you would with the Wii remote.
yeah, yeah. Hold on, guys. I need my Wii remote. But yeah, yeah, Wii Sports Resort was really fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe the problem with Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort is that as a kid you felt like you could actually go out and play the sports and do them for real once you'd mastered the Wii Sports version. So maybe they did a little more damage than they did good. But yeah, man, I love those games. And I think just as games that hold up over the years, I mean, you go back and play Wii Sports Resort, no problem. Those games hold up like a butte. And I think a lot of the Nintendo sports games do as well. Those are kind of the Nintendo brand ones, and then we've got all these Mario sports games that we can go into. A series that is near and dear to my heart is Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Particularly for me, it was the Vancouver 2010 game that I really loved. What do you guys think of the Mario and Sonic Olympic Games or any of these other Mario sports games that you guys wanted to hit on?
Ryan, talk about it.
Ryan,
Bring it up.
talking
So the Mario versus Sonic games, the only time I've ever played it,
Oh
they seem
no.
pretty broken.
Ah,
So I'm not with you on that whole
that's okay.
debate. But one Mario game that really sticks out to me um, is the Mario Super Strikers. Like I
Yes.
have never ever been good at the game,
No. Yeah.
but it
No.
is so
No. No.
fun to play, and I actually like getting my ass kicked
Yeah.
because I love seeing people like be so good at the game, and I'm like, how do you do that? And then they constantly go, I don't know, figure it out. And I just like I sit there for like hours trying to figure it out, but it's such a fun game.
Yeah.
So
No. Yeah. This is definitely one of those games that you play some people and they're just way too good at it. I also love Mario Strikers as a game. I had a friend growing up, Spencer, who owned the game, and I would go over to his house, and he had a lot more practice with it than I did, so he would just beat up on me. And yeah, I still loved it. It's a great take again if we want to go back to this breaking the mold kind of thing. And I guess we did talk about Mario Strikers just super briefly, but this does a great job of kind of breaking it down. And obviously, when you're playing with the Mario Brothers instead of real athletes, there's a little more room for interpretation. Mark, I think you were the one who mentioned Mario Strikers the first time. What do you think?
Yeah, sorry, I was distracted. Some high school kids were like stealing a shovel from across the street. I was just watching them. um, yeah, to go back, I never played the Olympic Sonic Mario games either.
Mm.
But when my cousins would play it, it did seem a little broken as well. So,
All right.
but Strikers was fun. I played that a lot, and my go-to character was Waluigi, and their
Yep.
like specials where they would like just do some crazy things.
Yeah.
Those were always sick.
Yeah, the specials are fun. Yeah, stuff like that just makes it like interesting, and it's a different kind of angle. Did you guys ever play
Yeah.
Mario Tennis? I know there's a
yes.
new one
Yeah.
out for the Switch, but there's the classic old one as well.
Yep.
Love Mario
played.
Tennis.
Princess Peach? It's my
Princess
girl.
Peach?
Go hard.
Yeah,
Did you know there was a Mario basketball as well?
I did. I've heard
Really?
rumblings in the
Oh
It's
yeah,
like on the
through the
DS, I
wire.
think.
Yeah, they should bring that back. That would be a great one. Mario like Blacktop style, NBA 2K Blacktop, Mario
Mario
characters, Mario Golf.
Mario Golf.
Hey, did you guys ever play? I just played this recently. If anyone out there has a Nintendo Switch, they do. You can get all those SNES games, and one of my friends downloaded the old Kirby Golf game. Kirby Golf, SNES. It sounds dumb, but underrated, and we had a lot of fun with that one. It's I don't know if you could really call it golf or even really a sports game, but it's called Kirby Golf, so I'm gonna include it. Love Kirby Golf. If you're looking for an old school classic, maybe something to throw back to. Can you guys think of any other of these Nintendo sports games? I know there's probably a ton that we're missing, but just any other Nintendo ones particular that stand out to you guys?
think I'm just gonna say Mario Tennis was my favorite sports game. Favorite Nintendo sports game. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Mario Tennis is an awesome one. Ryan, anything that
I'm just
pops in
trying
your
to
head?
I'm trying to look here. But I do remember playing Mario Hoops 3-on-3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys ever played that one.
No, I
That one
didn't.
was
Yeah.
pretty fun.
That was the one I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see a new Mario basketball game. I'd be very interested in that.
Do you think that a new Mario game released at the same time as like a new like 2K game would do good? Or
Yeah, I mean, I don't think those have a ton of crossover in terms of, you know, yeah, I think it'd be fine. I think the people who buy Nintendo sports games are more the Nintendo audience, and then the people who buy the EA or 2K games are the sports fans audience.
Imagine 2K's competing with Mario Hoops 3-on-3.
That'd be awesome if it came out
wow,
and completely
2K. Yeah.
destroyed 2K. Nobody bought 2K. I'd probably buy Mario basketball instead of a 2K game. Why not? I'd just be interested to try something new and something different, honestly. Nothing else on the Nintendo side of things from you guys? Nope. All right, let's
no.
let's go back and talk maybe some classics, some games that stand up and hold the test of time. For me, just because I have to get this one in and I have to mention it, I teased it a little earlier. My favorite sports game of all time, NCAA Football 14. I am a part of the NCAA football game cult. There are many of us. We are strong, and we are vocal, and we want these games back now. When I go back home, I have my Xbox 360 out there, and I have one game that I play, NCAA Football 14, and it's the only game I play when I'm back home, and I love it. I've been playing it for 7 straight years. I can't get enough of the game. Did you guys ever play either this or NCAA basketball? And what do you think?
Yeah, I played a lot of NCAA football with my brother. My brother's a big Michigan
Oh, yeah.
guy, and he went to school in the States, so
Right on.
he was like really into it. So I always liked, what was it? You could like even the ratings of each team, and so
Yeah.
he'd be like I don't know, Bama, and I'd
Yeah.
pick like Duke because I liked their basketball
Their
team and
basketball
like their
team.
football teams would be competing. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. These NCAA games, especially when they came out, where it had a ton of stuff that wasn't in, made by EA as well. The same people who make the Madden game, and they had a ton more stuff than the Madden game. And even NCAA Football 14 has stuff that still hasn't made its way into the Madden games. So I don't know. That was just kind of a space for me to talk about NCAA Football 14 because I couldn't, in my heart of hearts, do a sports video game show without talking about it. But the point of this segment was games that hold up, classic games in a series. Ryan, I know as an NHL guy, there's the mystique of NHL 94 out there. Still holds a lot of weight in the hockey video game community. What's your take on NHL 94? Does it still have a place, or is it just worth moving on to the new ones?
So as a hockey fan, I never really played a ton of NHL 94.
Right.
I remember playing, I think in like NHL 10, they had like a 94 like game mode where you just play. And like I played around with that. But like the controls are just so simple, and like it's literally just like 3 buttons and you're good to go. Whereas like when you have NHL 2010 and like you have all the different controls and everything, it's just like a little too simple for me. So that never really held up time. But a game that I mentioned before was the Tiger Woods game.
Yes.
Just because just before the new PGA game came out, I was honestly debating whether I should like bring up my 360 and like start playing that again. And then the new game came out, but
yeah. Ryan or Mark, sorry. Any games that stand up to you as all-time classics?
And probably I would say 2K13, NBA 2K13, just because I've played it a lot. That was probably the most like amount of 2K I've played. I think I was in like grade 9 or grade 8.
Right.
It was on the 360. It was like realistic enough for me to like enjoy the basketball, but also like unrealistic for me to like still
Right.
have fun and like for it to be a video game. They weren't trying too hard. And I think my player just became like a
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Yeah,
a
I think that
popular
was
thing back then.
the first couple years of my player and VC and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So yeah, that was a lot of good memories from playing that.
Yeah,
I would still play it. I still have it in my Xbox 360. I
really.
play it sometimes.
How do you, Mark? You kind of mentioned before we started recording. You were the only one who kind of wrote down specific years of sports games.
Oh yeah.
Um, so how do you pick out specific years? I wasn't able to do this. I couldn't really remember specific years of games. What stood out to you about these individual years?
Yeah, it's just mainly like nostalgia. Like I just played a lot of
Mm,
it, and it like, yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I remember playing with all my friends back in like come home from school, and then we'd all hop on like Xbox Live.
yeah.
We'd play like I don't know, head to head against each other, or just like my player with my cousin, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think like yeah, the VC was like a big thing. I was like buying
Mm,
gear,
yeah.
buying shoes. It was super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have a hard time doing that. Maybe it's just because I've been playing Madden for so long and the other games kind of sporadically. Um, Maybe for me, NHL 2K9 on the Wii
Oh yeah.
stands out for me as one. I remember
Was that
buying that
with
game.
Ovechkin?
I don't remember who was on the cover of that one, but I remember going to Staples and buying that game
Oh my
when I
god.
was a kid. And then,
Yeah, Rick
Staples.
Nash.
yeah, Rick
Oh,
Nash
And you could
at
drive the
Columbus.
Zamboni.
Drive
I
the
remember that one.
Zamboni. That might be
Yeah,
the greatest game mode of all time. Is drive the
honestly.
Zamboni. It's the Zamboni race. That was the best part because if you were like getting beat up by your older cousin or whatever in the game, it was like 18 goals to one. You're like, okay, I can still win the Zamboni race
Yeah,
between the second and third period. Like I may not win the hockey game, but I can still Zamboni more of the ice. So that's a win.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, NHL 9. Yeah, it just stands out for me again for that nostalgia factor. I think, like we've said, a lot of these games are similar, so it kind of comes down to what you played as a kid and what you kind of identified with growing up. You guys agree with
Just
that?
Yeah, just to go off of what you guys were saying about the NCAA games.
Oh yeah,
I remember playing the NCAA. I'm pretty sure they had basketball, did they
yeah,
not?
they did.
Yeah, I remember playing the basketball game, and I feel like it's such a wasted opportunity for
Yeah,
them not to release games like that because I swear, like during March Madness and like the peak of like the college football season, like that gets more hype than like the actual like NBA and the NFL season. So like I don't see why you couldn't get enough people buying games when I really don't think it's that difficult to just copy and paste the mechanics from the 2K game
hmm,
and bring it to the NCAA game. All you have to do is you have to bring in people for face scanning and like stuff like that. Like I really don't think it's that hard for profit that they're not making.
yeah. The player base is definitely out there. Like I know for NCAA football for sure.
Yeah.
Where they've run into trouble is, of course, using players' likeness and whatnot.
Yeah.
The legality is murky. But for me, like, I never cared that real players were in these NCAA games. I was just really happy to play as, like, the colleges and, like, play in that system, do, like, college recruiting and all that stuff. And, like, the NCAA basketball game, you play in the March Madness tournament, which was awesome, you
Yep.
know. I wish you could do that again. I would love to simulate a 64 team March Madness tournament. I think that would be
Yeah.
something I'd really love to do in a video game. Um,
Wait,
yeah,
Duncan, for NCAA football, did you ever play the mascot mode where
of
you could play a
course.
game?
Yeah, you could play as
Bro,
the team's mascot.
the
There's another
Stanford
one.
tree, that was my
The
favorite
Stanford
character.
Tree. Hey, Stanford is my favorite college football team, by
Oh
the
wow.
way. So I always played as the tree. But yeah, mascot
The
mascot
big
mode
tree.
is just another one of these game modes that we're talking about. It's like, yeah, you play as the school's mascot, and everyone's like 99 overall, and it's just
Yeah.
like 11 on 11 mascots. And instead of doing like jukes, you do like backflips and stuff, and like front flips
Yeah.
and whatnot. Yeah, I loved mascot mode.
Just have a big pine tree running down the
It's
field.
got yeah. Some of the mascots had like no arms, right? Like
Yeah,
so the ball's just like floating in front of them, and they're like
yeah.
hobbling down the
Or like
field.
the Syracuse orange, just a big
Syracuse orange,
orange,
yeah, it's
just
a
running down the field.
big old
What's
orange.
happening?
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, man. NCAA games, I love those, and just absolutely would love to see those back. If those games were back, there's no question I would never buy another Madden again. I'd be buying NCAA football every year, without a doubt. Um, yeah, there we go on that classic games discussion. We got a few more minutes here, guys. I wanted to ask you guys if you could make up an ideal sports game. You know, you can pick the sport, you can pick what's in it. You don't have to get too ultra specific, but just what kind of things would be in your perfect sports video game? Brian, maybe I'll go to you first.
I think honestly, my perfect sports video game would be like a little bit of everything. I think what Wii Sports does so well is that when you're bored of playing bowling, okay, you're gonna go play tennis.
Yeah.
If you're bored of playing tennis, you can go play baseball. So I think my perfect sports video game would be all the actual sports that I play, um, meshed into one, and you could get the actual like National League version and the college version, just because we've been talking about that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my perfect sports game, because when I didn't want to play a game like 2K, I could go to NHL, and if I didn't want to play NHL, I could go play baseball. So I think the name of it would probably be like multi-sport athlete or something.
Bo Jackson Simulator.
Yeah, literally.
it'd be like an 800 gigabyte size game. It'd be a huge game.
Oh yeah.
You buy it in August and you download it until September, and then you can play. It takes your whole 1 terabyte of storage on your Xbox. Yeah,
in a perfect world, that'd be perfect.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that's kind of I mean, I told you come up with your perfect sports game, but that's fantastical. But I mean, it's an awesome idea. I'd love to see a game that was just everything all together somehow. If you could make that work, I mean, it's like Avengers Endgame. You'd have to make all those characters work together somehow.
Yep.
But I love the idea, Ryan. I love the ambition. Mark, what do you think?
Dang. I don't know. I think personally, I really like soccer games. So kind of what I like FIFA. Like FIFA has like the actual games. They have like you can play in the different tournaments. You can play as like all the different teams from around the world. There's the street football game mode, which is also really cool.
Come on now.
So
FIFA's not perfect. What do they need?
FIFA's not perfect.
What
do
would
they
you
need?
love to see in FIFA?
Man, I don't know. I enjoy it.
Oh, come on.
And okay, a mix of FIFA and 2K. Mix FIFA and 2K, and then
pick up the ball and shoot a 3-pointer.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe have like a little collab with Mario and give me some Mario Strikers game mode in there as well.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Needs like a park mode.
A park mode like similar to like 2K.
Yeah.
2K Park.
How'd that work? That'd be kind of cool if you could do like, you know, you see like just anywhere you go in the world, you see guys playing little like 3-on-3 soccer with little mini goals. That'd be kind of fun. See a little mode like that, like kind of blacktop or like the park in 2K, like you mentioned, right?
Yeah, they do have that.
Oh, they do have that already?
Yeah, that's the Volta one.
Oh, okay.
It's a perfect game,
Well,
Duncan.
Yeah. So it might just be the perfect game.
All right, well, Mark thinks FIFA's the perfect game. It already exists.
just add in a mascot mode and I'll be happy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
finally. All right, we got Mark to criticize FIFA. But the perfect video game exists. It's already out there. FIFA 21. For me, just what I've been kind of saying this whole episode, and maybe people are sick of it, but too bad. I would just like to see something that kind of steps outside of the actual sport. Like I said earlier, we've kind of gotten away from that, and I would just like to see a game that does a little bit more with the sport, experiments or tries something new, and just goes for it. Getting a new Madden or 2K every year is great and whatnot, but yeah, Mario Strikers or NBA Jam, NBA Street, like we've talked about. I would just like to see a more modern version of those games because I guarantee there's
Would
people
you
out
play
there
a
with ideas.
volleyball game?
Absolutely,
I just thought of that right
yeah.
now.
I mean, what are those games out there? There's man, what are the volleyball ones like? Dead or Alive? Is that what those are called?
I don't even know if there's volleyball games out.
I think they're like anime volleyball games. I think they're called Dead or Alive, and I think they're less about the volleyball and more about the characters you play
Oh,
as.
Dead or Alive
Yeah.
Extreme
They're a
Volleyball.
live extreme beach
Yeah, have you
volleyball.
guys ever heard of Dead or Alive?
Okay, that it's a little
Never
sus,
heard of
Duncan.
Yeah, I've never played it, by the way. I knew someone who owned the game, and I was very suspicious of them, and we were no longer friends.
I just saw the cover. I'm like,
So yeah, I'm not sure I'd call that one a sports game so much, but yes, I'd love a straightforward volleyball game. I love volleyball. You know, I've said this in last year a lot. I think volleyball is really like kind of one of the underrated sports, and I think you could easily have a major pro sports volleyball league. I think it would be welcome. I would welcome it. I don't know if the public is interested in that, but I just think it's because volleyball's not really out there. Yeah, I would love a volleyball video game. Can you guys think of any other like sports that don't have a video game that you would like to see one? I'd kind of like to see a
Lacrosse.
really good lacrosse. Lacrosse is a good one.
I think they have had a video game,
Yeah,
but it
they had
only
like a lacrosse world championship game or something a couple years ago, maybe. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
There's only been like a couple video games.
I was gonna say rugby as well, and you could kind of pair these two because those are both sports that have had games in the past, but they've kind of been just tossed together, kind of rushed crap, for lack of a better term. So I'd love to see someone do a rugby game properly. Lacrosse, I think you could get a really interesting game out of if someone big and major took it over and really did the right thing with it. Mark, do you have any ideas?
well, lacrosse is just a crazy sport. My
Yeah.
friend plays lacrosse, and it's like you can just kill anyone. You can just hit anyone at any time. I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Do I have any ideas? I don't know.
Sports of
Ultimate Frisbee. A lot of my
ultimate frisbee. Yeah.
That could be
Asians love
pretty
Ultimate
cool.
There
Frisbee.
you go. Yeah, any of these like soccer mold games, rugby, ultimate lacrosse, I think are great candidates to get a sports game out of. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's kind of obvious we'll never get a true big ticket sports game out of a sport that's not a major one. So yeah, keep dreaming on the minor sports getting their sports games. But hey, we can all dream a little bit. Any other ideas from you guys just popping into your head right now?
Something that you brought up like a couple days ago when we were talking about it.
Mhm.
Do you think it's fair that like EA is signed to NHL,
Right.
2K is signed to NBA? Do you think that it's fair that EA doesn't have a chance to make a basketball game, or 2K doesn't have a chance to make a hockey game anymore? Or do you think you like it that way? Or do you think they should both be able to make the game and then sort of have like a competition to see who's better?
Yeah, no, this is a great question. Great question, Ryan. I hate it. I couldn't hate it more. We got all of these, the games that I mentioned I'd like to see again. We got all of those in a period of time when, back in the day there was Madden and there was NFL 2K. A lot of people liked NFL 2K a lot better. Like I mentioned, there was NHL 2K and EA NHL, and there was NBA Live and 2K basketball. So, and I think we got all like the best period of sports games out of that time when there was competition. And I'm not an economics major or whatever, but I think it's kind of standard business practice that competition breeds excellence, and it's tried and true, especially in this case for me. So personally, I hate it, and yeah, I would love to see more people get an opportunity at these contracts.
I know for basketball specifically, like EA has still been making
Yeah,
like NBA games.
Yeah,
They're just not good.
not
NBA
good.
Live, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why do they still make those? I thought maybe they
They
stopped a
made one,
couple years
yeah.
ago.
I think they made one last year for
Right.
sure. I remember seeing it,
I
but
think
I
they
don't know
might have.
about.
I think they might have finally given up. But yeah, that's one example where it doesn't hold true. But I think EA just kind of was putting one out just to collect a paycheck, and
Oh,
wasn't.
they canceled NBA
Yeah.
Live 20.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So
19 was the last one.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think they've kind of given up. And then, but like once, like these last 2 or 3 years, I've noticed that in 2K, that the innovation has kind of slowed down. And I'm guessing that's as a result of NBA Live going away. There's just no one to challenge them. Like, where else are you gonna go if you want an NBA basketball game? It doesn't exist. So yeah, there you go. Any more thoughts? Any more things you want to throw into our conversation just before we get out of here? Anything else that's burning you need to talk about today? Either of you? No?
Ah.
Going once?
Oh, LiAngelo Ball.
LiAngelo Ball is in the NBA. We're going to spend exactly
my
10
gosh.
seconds on this. LiAngelo Ball was signed to the Detroit Pistons. He's going to be gone after
Unguaranteed.
training camp. The
Yeah.
end. That's
All
our
the Ball
show.
brothers, they're in the NBA.
No, Ryan, we used up our 10 seconds on that topic. You gotta stop. That's our 10 seconds on the Ball family. Spent way too much time on it before, so we're 10 seconds. Yeah, there you go. A little bookmark it with some NBA news to start and to finish. Good episode, guys. Any final parting words?
Not much. Always fun to talk about video games.
Yeah, right on. That was a great episode, and I'm sure we could do another whole hour on it, and we might just sometime. But in the meantime, check us out on our website, cfmu.ca. You can check us out on YouTube, and I highly encourage you to, youtube.com/Marauder Morning. Please go give us a like and a comment and a subscribe or whatever. Check us out on Twitter at 933CFMU. Send us a tweet. Let us know if you liked the show or if you didn't. And if all that is well and good, we will see you all in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening.
Thank you.
There you go.